I think we're learning that people in this building really like to work outside of regular work hours.
So, to intro, Lizzie and I just got a brand new office. This is the first podcast right now from our little podcast booth that we've set up in the brand new office. Do we have a name for it yet? Have you thought about it?
We just call it the studio right now.
Yeah.
We'll come up with a fancier name later. But for now, if you hear any background noise, walking, talking, sorry, we'll do our best to take it out. But this is the way the setup is in the meantime. The office is partially painted, and we have some tables. We have the 2 chairs for the podcast area. And that's pretty much it.
I just want to paint a picture before we start getting into everything. Lizzie's currently sitting in a hanging chair, and the hanging chair is in the shape of a giant egg, and we've taped a giant moving blanket around her so that she's literally sitting in a giant noise-proof nest. So she might even sound better than I do in this situation.
So, on that note, hello and welcome back to the A Couple of Creatives podcast.
I'm Chris, and this is my fiance, Egg Girl.
I'm his fiance and business partner, Lizzie, not Egg Girl. I insisted on buying this chair. It's like one of those like bohemian-y like hanging chairs, like basket chairs. And sorry, I'm kind of sniffly because my allergies are really acting up. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you've been a little bit of a wreck in the last...
sniffly.
You know, Lizzie stretched her neck in the last few nights.
Oh my God,
she was literally a stick man, just walking around with straight arms and straight neck.
So I tweaked my neck like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I slept funny, and I thought, you know, when you sleep funny, you're like, oh, it'll go away. I'll just leave it alone. And it did, like, slowly started to go away. And then it was almost completely gone. And Chris was like, here, why don't you sleep on like my fancy neck pillow? And I was like, perfect. I'll sleep for one more night on this fancy pillow and I'll be cured forever. And like, this will be the last night I have any neck pain.
I thought I was doing like a nice gesture. Like
so did I. We both thought that this was going to be it, you know, the be all end all of my neck pain. And I woke up at like 6:30 or 7 in the morning in so much pain. Like it woke me up. My neck pain, and I've never experienced that before, ever. And then it was just kind of like bad all through the day, and at night it just decided it was going to seize up, and it freaking hated me, and so I literally couldn't turn my head or move at all. Yeah,
so I spent last night massaging her neck for like probably like 20 minutes with
like a good amount of time.
Good amount of times. I mean, you got to support your partner when they're going through these.
Oh my God, it was really like. I couldn't sit up by myself. You had to pull me to sit up, and it hurt so much. But anyways.
Give us a small taste of what it's going to be like when we're senior citizens.
Yeah. So my life's so hard, I had to book a massage for myself today.
I like how you always change your voice for that.
Because it sounds like, so I had to book a massage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did have to. I didn't know what else to do. And so I went in, and it wasn't like one of those really nice relaxing ones. It was like half the time I just spent like wincing. And then he was like, now take deep breaths. And I felt like I was giving birth a little bit. I was like, and he's like, does it hurt? And I was like, it does hurt, but it's the good kind of pain. And then I immediately came from that here. So I'm trying not to move in my egg basket. And
she's being reborn.
You know when you fill out that little form when you go in for a massage and they're like, what's wrong with you? And like, what medications do you take? I'm like, oh no, I'm about to be heavily judged for all the medications I take. And I'm like healthy. It's just a lot of like random stuff. I don't know.
So let's get to the topic of this week's episode.
So The Office.
We wanted to chat with you about The Office. This was like a decision that we've been thinking about doing for the last probably couple months, like seriously. I mean, it's always been a dream. We want to own an office. Let's make it happen. But, you know, we had just purchased our home only like a year and 3 months ago. So, you know, we were still trying to be like cost effective because it's Toronto and everything's really expensive. So when we bought our home, we bought a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and the 1-bedroom and bath was going to be our like temporary office or office. So we were working out of...
Yeah, when we had editors come in and like, I think we both thought we were going to be doing that for way longer than we ended up doing. Because when we first set up the office, we were like, this is so great. We each have a desk and, you know, we travel so much. It doesn't make sense to have anything else. And like for a while that was okay. But then over time, I don't know, your chair just kept bumping my back. Like our if you've never seen our office video or photos of our office, our desks face like the opposite wall. So our chairs are back to back. So like Chris will push his chair out and bump mine, or if we're walking in and out a lot, it's distracting if one person's coming in and like getting all their gear, it's kind of distracting. But like, you know, we dealt with it. It wasn't too bad. It made it hard to concentrate sometimes, like when you were editing a photo and you wanted to show me. Or, you know, vice versa.
Yeah.
And then the other person would be like
impatient
deep
we
in
both
an edit.
we both want each other's validation.
Yeah, so it would be really hard for the other person. So then we were like, oh, I don't know. Separate office would be nice, but, you know, in a different world. And then Chris got an editor, and we love him. We love Lucas.
Yep.
At first he was only in like 1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah.
And then it became 3 days, and then it became most of the week.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of slowly moving towards like a full-time position now. And that's like kind of what, that's like the next step that I want to be making with YouTube. So like not only was like, all right, we need a new office space because it's the next logical step in wanting to take this uber seriously. Like we already have, like our YouTube careers have always been a thing, but I think...
Well, we've talked about your editor before.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows why it's necessary. Like you just can't, you can't do... Everything. And we also want to do more.
Yeah. And better things,
and we
too.
want work-life balance. Like I have no desire to be pumping out 3 videos a week on top of everything else I have going on by myself. But anyways.
A quick side tangent on that. So you said work-life balance. Do you think work-life balance exists? Do you think that's like a real thing?
I feel like we can talk about that, but I feel like we just barely skimmed the top edge of talking about why we have the office.
Okay,
We
fine.
got onto Lucas and then just stopped. So we also have other employees. That's what I want to get to. So we have like part-time employees, kind of employees that are managing specific tasks. So we have a podcast producer. So she does like everything related to the podcast pretty much. And we have an audio engineer for that. He works remotely. And for the most part, Holly, our podcast producer, also works remotely. But, you know, when she does come in, she comes in like once a week or once every 2 weeks. Sometimes twice a week, depending if there's a lot to do. And we'll have meetings and she needs a place to work for the day or whatever. And she sits at our kitchen table. We also have another part-time employee named Nicole. When she comes in, she sits at our kitchen table. And one day the fire alarm was going off.
Oh man, that was the worst.
There was Chris and I in our apartment, obviously, and then Nicole and Lucas and Holly. And then we had this like the whole dishwasher scenario.
Yeah, this
dishwasher was being replaced, and it was the worst. So we were kind of going, okay, this was a nightmare. This is a nightmare. This isn't working. We need to get an office. And then you and I were thinking like big scale, like huge. Okay, let's get separate offices and we'll have a big common room and then we'll have this.
And studio space to shoot. And then I was like, let's buy it. There's this one 25 minutes away.
Yeah, Chris was like, let's buy one. And for the record, I wasn't ready to buy one yet because I was like, we don't know what we want. I think we should rent something. But even renting something that size in Toronto, holy shit, guys. No, just no.
Yeah. I had like horrible expectations. Like commercial real estate, I was like, oh, you're not living there, so it's different.
That's what I thought. It should be Sorry, I'm yelling.
So loud.
That's what I thought. It should be because it angers me. I'm like, it doesn't even include its own bathroom or kitchen sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're charging me how much and limiting how many people you can have in here at one time. Yeah, by the way, if you're looking for an office space, they limit how many people can work in it. They're like, this is for 2 people. And I'm like, I could fit way more than 2 people in here. They're like, oh, but we charge you another like $200 per person. Okay,
so like how about on this note, why don't we talk about the places that we saw, the experiences that we went through? Because Lizzie and I bickered a little bit. I got really quiet around some certain areas, and then how we decided on the space that we're in right now.
Yeah. But even, so then after deciding we wanted a big office space and we were talking to a realtor who was going to help us find one, potentially to buy, potentially to rent, because we couldn't agree on what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
We went to the Philippines, and then we realized, oh my God, we love traveling. I don't want to be at home.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just film everything while we're traveling and like all our videos. And then we come home and we only edit, and maybe that's the solution. And maybe I can get like a small office just to edit in when we come home. And the more that we were home, I think the more we realized that wasn't realistic.
Yeah, I mean,
realized it wasn't realistic.
Well, it isn't realistic because also when you're at home, you generally have like a routine and you have more energy, and that breeds more excitement for you to create, and it also allows you to be more creative. I find when you're traveling, because there's so many other logistics going on, like the hotel room, the food for the night, all this other stuff.
You feel like poo.
You don't feel great. And like, as much as you were like, you're exhausted by that point.
Yeah.
So like, not only have you tried to create a whole video and you're trying to do all this traveling, you're not even having the experience of traveling. So, you know, we're also trying to make sure that we're opening ourselves up to having like days off while traveling too.
Yeah.
So to put the expectation that we're going to shoot videos all the time on every single trip is just not realistic, because there's too many boundaries in the way. So by deciding to have an office space, you're making sure there's less boundaries so you can create more often and have stability.
And the other story is my desk at home, which slowly accumulated piles and piles of crap over the last 4 months, 5 months.
We're not going to talk about it. I hated it so much.
And I wondered, because I'm not a dirty person. I'm not an untidy person.
No.
So then I was like, why don't I want to work at my desk anymore? You know? And I thought like, maybe I don't know, I didn't feel like working at my desk. And then I started to think more about it. And I talked in my mastermind to Iz and Becky about it, Iz Harris, Becky Peckham. And they suggested, like, maybe you just need to get out of the house. Maybe you need to like go to a coffee shop. You need your own space. And I think part of that was right, but I don't think it made sense for me to be going to a coffee shop to get my work done when it's like both of our house. It should be my office too, you know? And so then I talked to my therapist about the same issue. And I said, it's really strange. I don't want to be in the office and I don't really know why. And we talked about some other things that were going on. Anyways, came to the conclusion that I needed a separate workspace. Like we both needed our own workspace, or at least we needed to create like some kind of divide, or we just needed more room. Yeah. So I basically came to you and I said, look, I feel like I haven't been sitting at my desk because it's just too crowded in here. Like, I don't want to be in there because you and Lucas are in there. I don't feel like it's my own space. I'm distracted. That's probably why I'm never in there. Like, it makes so much sense now, but I just couldn't really pinpoint it. And so now, obviously, we have an office, so it worked out. But there was still, like, a process in finding the right place and one that made sense, because they were all kind of different styles of spaces too.
Yeah, all three that we saw were so different. Do
you want to take the first one?
Okay, so something that I really enjoy is I really like random skill set that I feel like I've developed over the years is just the ability to find random things, whether it's people or spaces or locations or like random props, like whatever it might be. So like I really enjoy looking at real estate a lot. So I started by searching through like the traditional platforms. It was like realtor.com, or in the States, I think it's also realtor.com. So looking through the commercial listings, I was like, okay, I didn't really see anything that I like loved. So then I went on, like, in Canada, we have something similar to Craigslist, which is called Kijiji. So I started looking on Kijiji and searching up like our area and different businesses and office spaces. And originally I was trying to find a industrial space, so a space with like a big, maybe like bay doors, and then like a upstairs with an office, and those things are just way too expensive. So like that didn't work. So then I started searching through office spaces specifically, and what I've learned through this is that there's many types of different offices, especially
with their own
in
unique
2019
rules.
With all their unique ways of operating. So the first one I saw was actually technically a co-working space that was about 15 minutes away from like our house. So we're like, all right.
It was really new.
It was really new.
Nice.
It was really cool.
Funky.
Yep.
Had all these like nifty glass office cubicle things.
It's what you imagine like a co-working space
being
bunch of young people. Here's the beer area and you can have unlimited beer.
Yeah, it's like unlimited beer and unlimited coffee, and like we do all these cool things, and like we all help each other out, and it's like a community, and like cool. That's great if all you need is one office for someone to work, which is what we were considering. We're like, okay, maybe it would work for just like me or you to swap out and edit in. Like maybe we just need a room for editing. And it would be nice if we could fit a camera in there to do like sitting at the desk, you know, kind of tutorial videos. Like that would be great. Yeah, that's what we need.
So like every single wall was glass. So like super modern and cool, but for like a YouTube channel and like...
You need some privacy and also reflective.
And it's reflective and everyone can see it. And so like it's
for sound, it does. Yeah.
It's the worst. So it's like it literally is the epitome of wrong. So they're like, oh, well, we have this one corner unit that has like 2 brick walls. So like we could work with that. It's about 200 square feet. We call this the 6-person office. It was crammed for 6 people.
Yeah, I was like, this is a closet.
Remember when I was like, oh, so how much is this one?
Because we thought it was like small. Like we thought it wasn't like teeny tiny.
Yeah.
But it was 1 person, maybe 2 people could work in there with 2 desks, like comfortably. Or 1 person and like a camera and a lighting setup.
We're talking like just only double the size of our bedroom.
It's 1 office, okay? Yeah. And
she was like, it's $2,600 a month. And I was like,
and
I literally was like, I had written, I'm really bad. So in
your penis like retreated into itself. And like, you were just like, no.
I show it really like if the
That's
moment
what I
I'm
say.
not
I'm
interested.
just like his dick crawled up inside of his cavern body and then just wanted to leave.
You're
they wanted
such
to
a
walk
beautiful
out the door.
Picture for
this
everybody.
Ain't sponsored. Please go. If you enjoy my jokes, please contribute to the Patreon and join our creative club and back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
You didn't go anywhere. You're right here.
I made a distasteful joke.
Okay. So she said $2,600 and I was like, in my head, I was like, get the frig out of here. That's ridiculous, especially that it's not even in the downtown core of Toronto. Like we're talking like outside of the city. Like this is...
It's like the furthest part of Brooklyn in terms of like, if you're going to compare to Toronto to New York, it's like the far side of Brooklyn.
I was like,
Does that make sense?
This is not worth some Pabst beer on tap for this.
Nobby.
So like whatever. So we saw a couple other areas.
But I'm
like,
trying
maybe
to be
this
like
would work.
open-minded. I'm like, maybe we get the really teeny tiny one that was like, I don't know, what is it, like was it 600 or something?
No.
The really teeny tiny one.
Oh, there was one that was literally a box. It was just a box with a computer inside. And she's like, this one's $600 a month.
Yeah.
And I was like...
She was very nice.
No, okay, for Office 416, if you guys, that's the place. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of it. It just wasn't the right fit for us.
You can probably find something else a lot cheaper. It's probably going to be an older building. It's not going to have all the bells and whistles, but you know what?
I do want to make a note for people who don't understand it. Real estate is so expensive in Toronto, so it makes sense that they have to make sure that like most co-working spaces aren't like a crazy profitable business. So, they're segmenting different areas off so they can maximize it because one person isn't going to fund the whole thing. So just to build some empathy there, I get why it costs that much, but also on the other side, as the customer, it's still too high.
Yeah, it was just like kind of mind-blowing. So the next place was in a building that was literally 2 minutes from where we live.
It was like we could one wheel so easily. It was across the street from like a Freshie. It was like location 10 out of 10. Perfect.
Yeah. The building was dated and not in like a cute, hip, lofty way. In like it smelled like your grandmother's closet kind of office, if you know what I mean. Like
it looked like my grandmother's closet.
Like the weird old carpet but open mind because it was a lot cheaper. And they did show us one office that was a good size and the price was way better than the co-working space.
Yeah, it was $1,000 less. It was $1,500
Yeah, it was $1,500 and we would have been able to get 2 people in there and like 2 desks in there and some storage for sure.
But there was a super loud fan that we can't control.
Was loud.
So like the thing with commercial real estate is that
like central air.
It's central air. So there's no like individual unit heating or cooling. We're just taking a quick moment.
Someone's rolling something down the hallway. Yeah, so that's always a bit of a struggle. But you win some battles and you lose some, and that's one thing like we knew we would have trouble with. So.
Yeah. So for that place, we both liked it. It had a window. It was like big enough for all of us. There's gear storage. There's like a closet for it, and we were like, oh, and there's security and all this other stuff. So we're like, all right, it's expensive, but like I think it's good. And then I was like, oh, so what would how many people can get in here? He's like, this is a 2-person office, no more than 2 people. If there's one more person in here, it's an extra $250 a month per person. And that's okay. So when like you hear something and it's like an instant no,
instant dick invert again.
Yeah,
the penis retreated again.
Why must you always say it? Because I've never heard you even use this analogy.
I've always said that.
Okay,
I've made that joke so many times.
I disappeared the dick disappeared. And I was like, this is stupid.
Therefore, Chris disappeared.
It's a stupid landlord. And then I called the guy and he was just like kind of snobby on the phone. And I was like, never mind.
I mean, he's just a weird dude. They seem kind of sketchy. But I was still
sketchy.
excited about it because it was a really good size and it had a window that like faced a cute street. And I was like, you know what? This seems good. The price is good. The size is good.
Yep.
The whole point of it wasn't that all three of us would be working in there anyways. So, and Lucas isn't there every day of the week, so I thought we could still make it work. And the point was only like most likely one of us would be in there at a time originally, you know?
But it felt like a traditional office. It felt like a place that, like I don't know, if you've ever been to like a normal office building or like something that feels like very like 80s or 90s. If you've ever seen the movie Office Space, that's what that place felt like. Just like really dated, or even like The Office. It felt like that. Like if you've ever watched Jim Halpert, at the office, I would be Jim in that place.
You know where Saul worked in Breaking Bad?
Yeah, I think people can envision it. It's dated and it didn't like look that nice.
Yeah, so we thought about taking that one. But then Chris was like, there's one more I want to see. They only show the front of the building and it looks weird from the front.
It looks so sketchy.
There's no pictures from the inside, so let's just go see it. And I said, yeah, but let's go see it soon so that if we want the other place, we can let them know we want it before Christmas.
Yeah, because we were pretty motivated to get it all done by January. Because
we work fast, guys. Like Chris and I make a lot of decisions very quickly. We want everything to be set up. Like everything is fast-paced in what we're doing. So the longer we wait on something, the more money we lose.
Yeah.
Really.
Exactly.
We miss opportunities.
But the office space is still something that like we were like moving quickly, but we saw all the three places in less than a week?
Yeah.
Based on like other people's availability, not even ours.
Yeah. When I was renting apartments in Toronto, I would schedule like to see 3 in a day, and then I would just pick one of the 3.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not wasting time.
No, humming high in real estate doesn't make sense, let alone decisions in all your life. Build out like a schedule in your life, or build out like what you think is good, or just trust your gut because that's what's going to do it. And the other 2 places that we saw, my gut was like no, and Lizzie was like, I like the second place. So
the second place would have worked.
It would have been fine, but I'm so happy with the place we found.
So anyways, we see this place on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. So I was on Realtor.com and I was like looking at like this one office space, and it was like for lease, and then it came up, and like Lizzie mentioned, it had the sketchiest photo. Like it was taken like on an iPhone, not even an iPhone, like an iPhone 3, like the original iPhone almost. That's like what the photo reminded me of. And then afterwards, no other photo, it just had a little thing like great location. I was like, well, it's not the best location, but it's fine.
Well, no, it's near like some places we can walk to eat. Like there's literally a Subway
in
next
the building.
door.
So the
Subway, it's like attached. It's in our same building. You can't get into it from inside the building. You have to go outside and go over like literally one door. It's like one step.
But the Subway gave us confidence that the building was somewhat legit.
Yeah. So anyways, we meet the real estate agent. Enzo. And
just this old Italian dude.
Enzo. So then
on December 24th.
Yeah,
in the morning before our Christmas like meals.
Yeah, at like 10 a.m.
Yeah, and he was like, Christmas Eve?
Yeah, we're weird, whatever. So he lets us in, and it's like a really good size. Like really good size. It's just like a big square, basically.
And I look at him and was like,
bright lights, it like white gray walls. I don't know what these are. And the floors were so cool. We're like, what is this building? These wood floors are so interesting. He's like, oh, it used to be a bowling alley. We're like, that's so cool. It feels lofty, like every traditional production company in Toronto.
Yeah,
like that's
the ceilings are like 10 feet tall. It's awesome.
It has high ceilings. It does not have windows, but it's still really bright in here.
It's so bright. Like I actually prefer being in here than our home in the evening.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. And mostly the space. I was like, Chris, we can have a podcast corner. We can both have our desks. We can have storage. We can have
a co-working desk.
Like a big long table where we can eat lunch, or when Holly and Nicole come, they can sit there. We can have a coffee area. We can have a place for our coats. Like we can have all this in one space.
Yeah.
And when one of us wants some privacy or needs like some dedicated time to edit or something, we're going to leave one desk at home. So we're going to bring both desktop computers here, but we're going to leave one desk at home in our office right now.
Yeah.
So that someone could stay home and work from home if they want, or if one of us is just doing emails and they don't want to leave the house, like they can stay at home.
Yeah.
But then it gives us a little bit more room with each other.
Yeah. So Lizzie's vision for the place came to life when we were with Enzo. And what sold it for me is I was looking at, asked Enzo, I was like, all right.
How much is this?
No, 2 questions. I said, I already knew how much it was because it was listed on the Realtor
Oh,
website.
I didn't know. So I was thrilled.
It was listed at like $1,030 a month or something. So like $1,030 a month. So I was like, oh, this is even cheaper than the other place. It's good. There's enough separation. But I looked at him, I was like, all right, well, is there a max amount of people that can be in? And he was so funny, like classic Italian. He's like, no, man, you do whatever you want. You get like 5 people in here. That's what the last place had, like 5, 10 people, whatever you want. And we were like, sold.
Yeah.
Well, in our heads, we were sold. Then we went to him. We will get back to you with an offer, Enzo.
You can just imagine what Chris's dick was doing then.
It was a happy dance.
It did not invert.
No.
It did a happy dance.
Yeah, it was good. So we went back. We talked about it really briefly, and we decided that we wanted to move ahead.
Literally, same day, we were like, we want to give it to us. Thank you.
So we emailed him, filled out an application. Landlord approved everything. She answered all our questions that we had about the place, and we're in love.
Yeah.
We love the spot. It needs a lot of work, but we're really like happy.
Yeah, so we signed the lease on Friday, and they let us in early to get set up, which is nice. So we immediately, like the same day, we went out and bought paint, and then we painted the next day. Already got furniture, assembled
we made
the hanging
decisions
chair.
so quickly. We've had it for 5 days. We're not even paying because like. Fun little fact for people who are interested in potentially getting an office and you are leasing, the commercial real estate agent will talk to the landlord and they'll usually give you like a moving in period. I didn't know about this. They'll give you a moving in period where you don't pay. So like even if you're like looking to set up whether it's like a restaurant, like they might even give you like a month or 2 to set up the place before you even start paying rent because they realize that you need to get your space to a spot where you can actually make money within
the money
work.
to pay the rent.
So we're still in like the trial run right now.
Technically.
We have 10 more days, which is amazing. That makes me even happier. Mm-hmm. So that's a fun fact for commercial real estate.
Here we are in the space.
And Lizzie's egg.
In my egg. And we're very happy. And I'm just so excited for it to be done already. And it annoys me because we like to do everything so quickly that we have to wait for furniture to be delivered.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, we should have just got everything delivered and then stored it somewhere beforehand and then just like brought it all in. But
yeah, in our last office, we worked with this company in the States called Fully, which are like actually awesome partners of ours. This isn't sponsored, by the way.
They make amazing desks and
they're standing desks. So they're like motorized.
Motorized, electric, standing desks. Motorized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you push a button, it rises. You push a button, it falls. You can have like preset heights.
Yeah.
To them, they're really cool.
And even in like full transparency, like they don't even make like a crazy markup on all their stuff. So I think their way that they operate is that they want like higher demand of selling more at like a lower price point. So like everything's really affordable.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're awesome. We love them. We have a phone call with them tomorrow to talk about what we're going to get in our new office, which we're really excited about. Because I think we're going to move to like L-shaped desks. So we'll have more room because...
Hashtag not sponsored.
Not sponsored, just things that we actually like.
Yeah. And so they're really cool. One of the coolest desks they have is they have a whiteboard one.
Yeah, that one's sweet.
I think Sarah has it, Sarah Dici.
Yep.
She...
All the YouTubers in our space have the Fully desk.
Yeah, they do. And so she can like make notes on it as she's going. It's really cool. But so we painted one of the walls in here a dark navy blue.
What is it specifically called?
It's called Hail Navy.
If you guys are like into interior design, which our friends Becky and Chris are, that is the Benjamin Moore Hail Navy.
I've never heard of this color until I did not know it was a big deal when we chose it.
It was so funny. We went into the paint store and this woman like definitely had been, like a professional painter for like majority of her life. And she's just been selling paint. And she's
like, what color do you want? And we're like, we're looking for like a blue gray, like a dark blue gray. And I'm holding like 12 paint chips. She goes, oh, you want Hail Navy, honey. And then it gives us the Hail Navy paint swatch.
Because she had to sell another Hail Navy. Like I imagine that's like what like a record store owner has like all these amazing catalogs of like jazz records. And the person's like, can I get the Justin Bieber? And he's
like Miley Cyrus again? Really? I'm like, really? And so anyway, she hands us the Hail Navy chip and I was like, oh yeah, I like this better. All the ones I pick up suck. Thanks. Yeah. And so that's what we got.
And then we ended up FaceTiming Becky and Chris.
And she's like, that's Hail Navy, isn't it?
She's like, I freaking knew it. And then like long story short, it ended up being the exact same color as our door. So it all worked out.
We literally didn't plan that at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, we should go back to your question now.
What's my question?
The one about work-life balance.
Oh, thanks for remembering. You listen to me.
I always listen to you.
No, I don't listen to you all the time.
Oh my God.
I'm so bad with it.
Yeah, that should be a whole other podcast.
I don't listen to Lizzie. Listening.
Do you listen to your partner or business partner? Yes or no? And like better techniques on how to communicate.
I'm just bad.
Do you guys want
with
that?
Multitasking.
Let us know.
One of the things moving into 2020 that I'm trying to do better of is just drop my phone. I hate how much I use it. And I think
all the time
to the point where it's definitely like a consumption.
So
I mean, we'll save that for a whole nother podcast.
Okay, so work-life balance, go.
Do you think, Elizabeth?
No, I'm asking you now.
No, I asked you first.
No.
Look at you sipping your tea from the side like a gangster. Ew, that
has never
so
been
gross.
said. Does it sound bad through a microphone?
Yeah, it sounded
I'm sorry,
horrible.
guys.
Everyone's cars just exploded.
Sorry.
People think that in the car beside them, hey, is that car farting? Anyways.
No, I don't think there's work-life balance.
I also don't think there's work-life balance. I think you can build boundaries, but I think
there's a lot of give and take. There was a CEO I saw actually. She was speaking at a conference, and now it was so many years ago, I don't remember her name or her company. But she talked about how, she didn't believe in work-life balance. She felt that there was always give and take.
Yep.
And you had to kind of prioritize like the categories of your life and kind of keep tabs on what's not doing so well. And then, maybe next week put more effort into that place.
Yep.
But yeah, there's always going to be one area that's just not doing so well. You can't be perfect in sometimes you're doing so good in your self-care. You're like, oh my God, I've been treating myself. I feel so good. I feel so happy and taking care of myself. Maybe you haven't been working a whole lot, So you go back to work. Maybe you're working really hard. Now you're not eating as healthy. You're going to the gym less. Oh, I need to go to the gym more. You sacrifice a little time at work. You know what I mean? Like it's all a little bit of.
I would say like one of the pieces of information is like
you're manipulating it. I don't know how else to put it.
Well, just don't beat yourself up if you're not hitting the marks that you're setting for yourself. I think there's a lot of ebb and flow in all of life. And some days, like Lizzie said, you're doing better in certain categories than the other one. And to remind everyone, we all go through this. Lizzie and I go through this all the time. And don't beat yourself up if you're not hitting those marks because everyone else feels the same. Yeah,
I don't think you should punish yourself, but I still think it's a good idea to be self-aware of those categories. I think that's like a great takeaway is the self-awareness. Yeah, and what's not working and what isn't getting enough attention, and then making a change and trying to make a change. Because there's so many people that, they're like, oh, don't go to the gym, don't have time, like can't do it. Like I absolutely can't do it.
Yep.
Like I'm never gonna do that. And I still try. Like I think about it, I write it in my calendar, I try to go, I keep trying. Now my neck hurts, so that's off for me this week. But will I try as soon as my neck's better? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna give up on it.
No.
So yeah, you just have to kind of reevaluate and make changes. Don't forget about one thing because it's not working. You can fit in most things. But actually, something I want to note about like spending time with friends and family.
Yep.
I think because that's always like, I still have trouble with that, and scheduling time for work and, the things that I want to do, like maybe I want to read tonight, or I need to do laundry, or I want to go to the gym outside of work,
Mm-hmm.
And then a friend's like, hey, let's go for drinks, or like come over for a movie on the night that you had your yoga class that you were really looking forward to, you know? And they're like, oh, well, you never come out. I haven't seen you in so long, but you haven't been to yoga in a while. And you're like, you kind of want to go to this yoga class more. I think a lot of people give in sometimes and like go see their friend because it's easier and you don't want to disappoint the person. But I think sometimes you have to say like, I'm so sorry. Can we pick a time right now for next week? Like schedule a time with them right then. commit to it and say, it's really important to me that I go to this yoga class. I haven't been in a while. Like, I'm so sorry. I've been really planning on doing this, but let's schedule a time right now that we can get together. Because it's not just, you'll still burn out if you're doing work for other people and then spending time with people for other people and not yourself. Like, you want to be fully present with your friend. You want to see them. You don't want to go and then resent the fact that you missed that yoga class or whatever. Like, sometimes I think I overschedule my evenings, not just with friends, like with family and other obligations, because I'm like, oh crap, I haven't seen them in a long time. I need to see them right now.
But there's always a funny cycle of never seeing somebody for a long time, because the moment you've seen everybody, it goes right back to the beginning of the person.
That's how I feel too.
So I mean, one, definitely keep your like inner circle of friends to like your core people that you really love. Intimate.
Keep it intimate.
Because the moment you're trying to be like,
that word.
Yeah, the moment you try to be like everything for everyone, it's already like you've already lost. But I always find it's like everyone's like, let's get together for coffee. And like all these people you've built relationships with, it's just everything kind of falls apart. So like, don't be ruthless with your friends, but like if there's certain people you really enjoy being around, it's okay to keep a close group of people, and also make sure that you're giving yourself some selfish time, some self-care, some love, things that you really love. And or if you can, maybe convince that person to join in what you're enjoying as well, so that it's not just one way all the time.
And like, for example, a lot of people reach out to us and go, do you have time for coffee? Do you have time for a call? Do you have time to look at this? Do you have time to look at that?
No one has time for a coffee.
And well, not just that. I have time for a coffee. I don't have time for all of the times I get those emails, which is more than that one person. That one person thinks they're only that one person that's asked for that.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to go for coffee, want us to look at their Instagrams, want us to, I'm trying to think of other ones. Phone call, interview, questions. You know what I mean?
What Lizzie's saying is that everybody wants our time for no money. I mean, some people offer, but it's not even that. It does not even.
I would love to have the opportunity to do all of those things. And in the beginning, I felt really guilty when I couldn't. And I tried to make time to do all of those, but I wasn't getting any work done. So I'm more selective now. I still do them, but I'm more selective with the ones that I choose. So if you're listening to this and you've sent us that email and you didn't get a response, I am very sorry. You could try again. But we are pretty selective with, like, there is one girl that emailed me today that I will try and make time to have coffee with.
There's certain stories that cut through the noise for sure.
Yeah. So it's not like I never do it. We can't do it all the time because, again, trying to keep that balance of, meeting all our work goals, setting up the office, seeing our family, getting ready for Switzerland, and my health, my neck is all messed up. I'm trying to go to the gym. I'm trying to eat healthy. I want to cook more. I want to go grocery shopping. Chris and I want to go to the movie. We're people and can't do it all. So that's why hiring and getting an office is helpful.
Yeah, office is a nice step into creating a bit more separation into our lives. So what would you say are like the big takeaways from getting the office?
Well, we haven't been here that long, so I can't.
I'm already starting to feel it. Like last night, we kind of joked. We were like, oh my God, our home is our home right now.
I can tell you, how we feel right now, but I can't tell you like the ultimate takeaways. We could do another update later.
Yeah. I mean, for us, I think the separation is a really big one. One thing I mentioned in my video that is already probably up at this point is that just like I'm a bit of a workaholic. So for the first time, like being like, oh, I can actually just relax when I'm at home. I don't have to like go and grab the computer. Like having that idea of like going to work is better than work always being around.
Yeah, I think it's definitely nice being able to drive home and having it be like neat and tidy and nice.
Yeah, where the office will be the mess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you look like you were about to say something.
No.
But anyways, so that's why we got an office. We're really excited about it. Hope you don't mind our little stories of all the things that have been happening. But we have our podcast corner set up, and this is going to be the future of a couple of creatives to also make this consistent, because one of the other issues that we had when the podcast was at home is that we never wanted to do it because we had to set it up and do all these things. And now it's set up all the time and we actually get the chance to make it. So we want to just thank you guys all for listening at this point. If you guys don't know, we have a Patreon page, which we're really excited about. There's 3 tiers if you guys want to support. Again, just you listening is like a great way of supporting. You leaving a comment is even better. And then you can go another step if you really want to, whereas you can join our little Patreon. I think the first one is like $2 a month. You get a whole bunch of stuff. The second one, you actually get to join in and start asking us questions, which we will start answering on the podcast in the next episode. And then after that, we have another tier where you can get like presets and all this other stuff, and even one of Lizzie's prints. So if you want to go check that out, go to patreon.com/a couple of creatives podcast, or a couple of creatives, I think it is, just on Patreon. So thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. If you have some time, leave a review. That stuff legitimately makes a difference. I feel like it's become cliche where I'm like, leave a comment. It makes a difference. No, like in podcast land, it does.
Yeah. So we're all the money from the Patreon goes towards paying our podcast producer, Holly, and our audio engineer. Chris and I are doing this for shits and giggles. Would be nice.
I'm here for the giggles. Lizzie here for the shits.
I'm here for the shits. So thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.